Last night I went on live to address what is going on with the Jimmy Butler Miami Heat saga. Some of y'all joined me, and I greatly appreciate y'all jumping on with me last night. It was a good time. I was emotional. I'm still emotional. I'm still pissed. I'm still bothered, and I'm still disgusted. And I still will not go to another Miami Heat game in person until Pat Riley is gone as president and general manager and the king of fucking up this franchise. Yes, I said it. He is the king of fucking up this franchise. You Miami Heat fans who live in a bubble, who live in this level of delusion where it's always the athlete's fault, you guys make me fucking sick. I'm so tired of listening to people who don't know dick about basketball trying to talk about basketball. This is not a basketball issue with the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler. This is a clash of personalities and a disrespect by the president of the organization to his star player. That is what this is. And this is not the first time that Pat Riley has been disrespectful to his star players. But before we jump in, thank you so much for your continued support of this channel. This is Rudy's Rant, where we talk facts over feelings, powered by Coming Out the Podcast. I am your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, subscribe, follow, hit that bell, leave a comment. I want to hear what you have to say. Are you the delusional Miami Heat fan? Do you suck off Pat Riley's every word? Is that who you are? If you are, then this message is to you. It's to you. It is absolutely 100% directed at people like you. What has Pat Riley done to make you think he's infallible? What has he done? He lost over and over and over with the New York Knicks. He lost over and over and over with the Miami Heat in the 90s. It wasn't until the trade for Shaq was made. Stan Van Gundy was the coach, not Pat Riley, if you recall. And what happens? The Miami Heat go to the Eastern Conference Finals. And what happened that year? Dwyane Wade got hurt in the Eastern Conference Finals. That is why the Miami Heat did not win the championship in 2005. You want to give credit to Pat Riley for making a trade to get Shaq? Go right ahead. He didn't coach the team. And then the next season, they start off a little slow. Shaq is beefing with Van Gundy, even though they got to the Eastern Conference Finals the year earlier, and Pat Riley makes himself the head coach. And if you recall, that season wasn't a great season. The Heat were 52-30. They weren't a dominant franchise. They were good. They weren't amazing. They fell behind 2-0 against the Mavericks in that finals series. And then Dwyane Wade became Dwyane Wade. Let's repeat. Dwyane Wade became Dwyane Wade, the best player in the world. Was that because of Pat Riley? No. Pat Riley has been the beneficiary of some of the most talented teams ever. In fact, one could argue that when the Lakers didn't win, they choked because the Lakers always had the most talent in the league while he was coach of the Lakers. Magic, Kareem, Byron Scott, James Worthy, Michael Cooper. You go down the list. Yes, the Celtics won some rings too. But there's not a person that would ever say that the Boston Celtics had more talent than the Los Angeles Lakers did in the 80s. No one would say that. No one. Not even the Boston Celtics fans would say that. Or maybe they would. Maybe they're delusional too. So he wins the ring in 06. And the next year, what happened to the Miami Heat? You remember? Do you remember? They got swept. They got swept in the first round. Swept. What happened the year after? Shaq is gone. Shaq leaves. Why? Because he and Pat Riley don't get along. Because Shaq wanted to whoop his ass. This is background on your savior in Christ, Pat Riley. This is the background of his story. I'm not saying he was a bad coach. He's one of the greatest coaches ever. I never say that he's not a great coach. He's a great coach. He gets overhyped as a freaking president and GM. He's an egomaniac. It's his way or the highway. He doesn't care who he offends, how he offends them, or what he says. He doesn't care. In the world of business today, if you do the things that Pat Riley does and says to players, you might not be in your position very long because there will be massive levels of HR complaints against you. You would not survive today's generation. This is not 1965, where the black players of the league are your indentured servants. This is not that time. These players are empowered. These players know their rights. They know their respect. They've earned that respect. They've earned it all. And yet you treat them like they're shit. So let's remember, when did Pat Riley decide he didn't want to coach anymore? He decided he didn't want to coach anymore because he was getting his ass fucking kicked in 2008 and 9. You don't remember? You should go back and look it up. You should look it up. That's when Eric Spoelstra became the coach. Eric Spoelstra becomes the coach, and his first year, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, or second year, was Dwyane Wade's rookie year. And the Miami Heat make the playoffs, and Dwyane Wade leads them to the second round. And next year, Shaq is in town. Now, I'm sorry, Eric Spoelstra leads Miami to the playoffs, and then the next year, or 2 years later, LeBron's in town. I'm flip-flopping. I apologize. So LeBron and Chris Bosh joined the Miami Heat because Dwyane Wade deferred money to ensure that the Miami Heat could retain Udonis Haslem. Because at that time, Udonis Haslem was a very important piece to our puzzle. Okay? Remember, he's giving money away that he will never get back. LeBron James shows up. LeBron James' first year, he was great until the playoffs, until the finals, really, when he disappeared. Dwyane Wade would have been the finals MVP had they won that series if LeBron had just been decent. Pat Riley wasn't the coach, but Pat Riley gets the credit. That's the joke of it all. Yeah, there was a point where LeBron wanted Eric Spoelstra fired, and Pat Riley said no. That's the one thing I can certainly agree with him on. It was ridiculous to fire him. But at the time, he was a very young coach. And they do win the championship the next year. But let's remember this. Did LeBron James win a championship without other star-level players around him? Did Dwyane Wade win a championship without another star player around him? The answer is no. Did Magic win without another star player around him? Again, the answer is no. Kareem, same thing. It is almost unheard of that a one-man star team wins an NBA Finals. The Dallas Mavericks in 2010, 11, are the only one in the last 20 years. The only one. And the Detroit Pistons, I believe it was in 2004. Those are the two teams who did not have, and the Pistons really didn't have any stars. They just had a group of dogs when they beat the Lakers. But the Mavericks had one star, and that one star beat the Miami Heat's 3 stars. Pat Riley's never won without multiple stars. His teams have never won without multiple stars. In fact, it's so rare that I can't think of another time in my lifetime, because if you want to go back, I was born in 1977. If you want to go back to 1980, from 80 on, the Lakers were loaded, the Celtics were loaded, the Sixers were loaded, the Rockets were loaded. The Bulls loaded. Michael Jordan didn't win until Scottie Pippen became a star. Michael Jordan did not win until Scottie Pippen became a star. Maybe the Pistons, you could say, of 80, what was it, 88, 89, whatever, 89, 90, whatever years there were, those were, with Isaiah Thomas and then a bunch of the bad boys, but they played football on the field, on the court. I mean, maybe the people thought Joe Dumars was a star, but I never thought Joe Dumars was a star. He was a solid basketball player. Isaiah was a star. So you have a few teams, but not very many. Not very many. The Spurs, you have Duncan and Robinson, and then you have Parker and Ginobili along with them. Then Kawhi Leonard comes along. The Lakers, Shaq and Kobe. The Rockets, Akeem and Clyde Drexler. Like, it goes on and on and on. It's nonstop. You need at least 2 stars to typically win in the NBA, at the very least. Nowadays, you need 3. And what does Jimmy Butler have? He's got Bam Adebayo, who is not a star, who's a good role player. He has Tyler Hero, who is a young gunner, a young kid who's can't dribble, yet they want him to play point guard. If they want him to play point guard, but he can't dribble, doesn't defend well, and takes lots of bad shots. This year, Hero's been really good. But historically, Hero's also been very injured. So the things that he wants to say about Jimmy Butler, bro, are you kidding? This man, Pat Riley, damn well knew Jimmy Butler's father died last year, and he missed games because he was with his father. It's not released to the public, and yet, so people question, why isn't Jimmy Butler playing? Because he's with his dying father. That's Pat Riley for you. He makes Jimmy Butler look like the villain for missing some games to be with his dad. Are you kidding me? That's Pat Riley. But let's roll it back a little bit. This is the same man that ran LeBron James out of town. Why? Because Pat Riley's ego did not allow him to acquiesce to LeBron's requests of having his assistant as an employee of the team and giving him access, as every other franchise has done. And I'm not even sitting here saying I disagree with Riley in that. But that's LeBron James. You make exceptions for the elite players in the game. Your stars, you make exceptions. Jimmy Johnson said it one time, if Emmitt Smith falls asleep in a meeting, I bang him on the shoulder to wake him up. If the third string linebacker falls asleep in the meeting, he's packing his bags, he's cut. You treat stars differently. It's just the way it is. This world of everyone gets treated the same, that's bullshit. It does not exist. Your elite performers get treated differently. That's why they get paid more. But it goes beyond pay. Juan Soto just got $765 million. And the difference between him staying with the Yankees and going to the Mets was the fact that Juan Soto wanted a suite in Yankee Stadium. And the Yankees said, no, you can pay a discounted price because we didn't give that to Jeter or Judge. The Mets said yes. It bent over and they took it. And on top of that, there was rumors that there was a couple of issues that happened in April or May where someone couldn't get in the building, and he took that very personally. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that's one of the things that's been pushed out there. These athletes are sensitive. They are. They're diva-ish, for sure. They are absolutely diva-ish. That's what happens when you pay someone $50 million to play basketball. But LeBron James leaves Miami because Pat Riley doesn't respect him, doesn't show him the respect of being a guy who's just brought your team, helping your team to 4 NBA championships. You amnestied one of his favorite players in Mike Miller. He didn't like that either. It's well known. And then there's other things, but there were basketball related things in there. Basketball related things for sure. And then Dwyane Wade, you piss off and insult Dwyane Wade. Why? Because when LeBron James decides he's out, what did Pat Riley do? He paid Chris Bosh a max deal to keep him from going to Houston and doesn't give Dwyane Wade the same. What does that tell you about Pat Riley? He doesn't respect his stars. He doesn't acknowledge what they've done for this franchise. He thinks he's the franchise. Pat Riley's ego makes him think he is the franchise. Newsflash, when Pat Riley's no longer breathing, there will still be a Miami Heat. There will be a new president, a new general manager, whoever, and there will still be a Miami Heat. But Dwyane Wade leaves because that man wanted to jip him out of $2 million. $2 million. He didn't pay him a max deal when he paid Chris Bosh a max deal. Then Chris Bosh has blood clots and he can't play anymore. Good job again. I mean, obviously you couldn't foresee that, and that was horrible for Chris Bosh. But that contract was an albatross for Miami because he couldn't play for 5 years. It was a 4 or 5 year deal. And then you had Miami go through some crap with the Dion Waiters time and Hassan White. You paid Hassan Whiteside 4 years, $98 million off of one good season. That was a disaster. But you didn't pay Dwyane Wade. And Dwyane Wade left for 2 years and with $48 million to go to Chicago. And you were offering him 2 years for 42. And yeah, people will come back and say, well, state taxes and all that. Doesn't matter. It's a respect thing. It's about respect. And people who say, oh, it's a business decision. Yeah, you're right. It is. Absolutely. It's a business decision. And sometimes in business, you reward people for what they've done for you. In fact, more often than not, you reward people for what they've done for you. So people that say, oh, you're not paying for the past, you're paying for the future. Well, no, you're not. You're not. You're not paying for the future. Because you wouldn't be paying, LeBron James would not be making $60 million right now a year for the future. Would he? No. He's 40 years old. He doesn't play defense. But the Lakers are paying him a max deal. Max dollars are being paid to LeBron James. And he's one of the worst defensive players in basketball now. And they've been to, what have they gone? They've been a 7 seed, an 8 seed, a 7 seed. Play in every year. Like, come on. They have the one bubble year, and other than that, they've been utter garbage. And that's with LeBron playing next to Anthony Davis. But you're mad because Jimmy Butler could not carry Bam Adebayo to a championship. There's not a person in Miami, there's not a Miami Heat fan on earth that would not trade Bam Adebayo for Anthony Davis heads up right now. Everyone would. I don't care how often AD gets hurt. Bam has had his own share of injury problems. And AD is 10 times the player that Bam is. Everyone would make that trade heads up in a second. That's who LeBron plays with. And Jimmy Butler has Bam. But then Dwyane Wade leaves. And people are vilifying Dwyane Wade. Heck, I vilified Dwyane Wade. I admit it. I was so emotionally hurt when Dwyane Wade left because you know what? I took that stupid franchise line. I did it. I'm guilty of it. I'm not guilty of it this time, though. I learned about this. This guy is just, his ego is so large that he can't see this far from his face. So Dwyane Wade goes to Chicago. It's a disaster, but that's where he meets Jimmy Butler. Gets close to Jimmy Butler. And that's where it turns out that, Jimmy Butler is probably going to could end up being a member of the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler could have been a Miami Heat player earlier than 2020. He could have been a Heat player earlier than 2020. He could have been a member of the Miami Heat when Dwyane Wade was here. He could have been, right? But he gets traded to Minnesota. Obviously, that didn't work out. And people say, well, Jimmy Butler's petulant. He's this, that, and whatever. He's a bit of a crybaby, whatever. He's a cancer. He's a bad apple, blah, blah, blah. No, you guys don't get it. You guys don't get it. You guys don't understand Jimmy Butler. And that's what the funny thing is. And I don't know Jimmy Butler personally. I do not. I'm not going to sit here and say that I do. I know I have a buddy of mine who's interviewed him who says it was one of the greatest interviews he's ever had. He posted it, in fact. He says it's very sad that Jimmy Butler's going to be leaving. Because he's actually said that Jimmy Butler, the interview they had with Jimmy Butler was one of the best interviews he's ever had. Posted it recently on Facebook. And when you look at it, Jimmy Butler, like, understand Jimmy Butler's background. Jimmy Butler has never gotten anything for free. Y'all don't get it. He's never gotten anything for free. The man played 1 year of JUCO ball before getting to Marquette. He played JUCO ball. Kicked out of his house when he was 13. He lived with various friends. I'm just looking at his bio. I mean, this guy, he lived with a friend in high school. Jordan Leslie, a freshman football and basketball player at Tombow High School. They became his family. This guy has gone through hell. He's had to earn everything. Averaged 20 and 9 as a senior in high school and didn't get recruited by anybody. Went JUCO to Tyler Junior College. Averaged 18 and 8 and 3, and then ends up at Marquette. And his first 2 years in the NBA, barely played. He barely played. He's self-made. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all don't get this. His rookie year, he averaged 8.5 minutes per game. He was a DMP 40 games, averaged 2.6 points per game. His second year, he played all 82, started 20, averaged 8.6 points. His third year, averaged 13. His fourth year, 20. His fifth year, 20.9. His sixth year, 23.9. That was his last year in Chicago. Then he goes to Minnesota for a year, less, half of a full season. And then he ends up in Philly after Minnesota. Miami could have gotten him out of Minnesota. They didn't want to make certain trades to get him. He goes to Philly. If he had stayed in Philly, I guarantee you Jimmy Butler would be an NBA champion right now. I guarantee it. But he left Philly because they chose Tobias Harris over him. Y'all have seen this when he walks out. You chose Tobias Harris over me. They chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. You got to be kidding me. That man has had to fight his entire life. That man loved playing with Joel Embiid. He doesn't ask to be the star of the team. He's never averaged 28 points per game. His career high is 23.9. But he's a dog. He plays defense. He does everything you want from a player. He does everything. He's a stat stuffer. Comes to Miami and in his first year takes us to the finals. Second year, yeah, we didn't do too well. We got knocked out in the first round. Third year, Eastern Conference Finals again. What happened in that playoff series, in those Eastern Conference Finals? Tyler Hero got hurt. He didn't play. He didn't play for most of those playoffs, if I recall correctly. And then his fourth year, we're back in the finals again. The fifth year, we're back in the finals again with this man. And we lose to the Nuggets. He ran out of gas. First year, Goran Dragic gets hurt. Bam gets hurt. And that was a young version of Bam, who wasn't close to what he should be now, but it seems like he was pretty much the same level of guy. because Bam has not gotten markedly better over 4 years. He's virtually the same player every year. In fact, this year he's gotten worse. Jimmy Butler's had to grind for everything, work and fight for everything. So you're damn right, money matters to him. Money is respect to him. And when you extend Bam Adebayo for 3 years at $165 million, and you don't extend Jimmy Butler for 2 years at $113 million, just so he'll opt in, you disrespected him. And then you fucking tell him to shut up publicly because he was injured and he got rolled up. Like, it wasn't his fault. I can't remember that stupid guy's name. Who was that fucking player that rolled his damn leg? Let me look. Drive me crazy why I can't remember this guy's name. Philly roster. Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre Jr. rolled his knee. He didn't, like, that wasn't on purpose by Jimmy. Like, you think he got hurt on purpose? That was a freakish situation. The man rolled into his knee. This is the guy who, when he got his ankle stepped on by fucking Josh Hart in game 1 of the Knicks series a year earlier, did not come out of the game. He missed game 2. They lost. He came back in game 3. They won. He came back in game 4. They won again. They lost game 5. They won game 6. And that was after he had one of the greatest series ever versus the Milwaukee Bucks. But now he's injured. Do you think it might have been different had he not gotten hurt? Again, someone steps on your fucking ankle, you don't control that. Or rolls your ankle. Like, Josh Hart put his foot there on purpose. I remember the play. It was clear. Oops. Jimmy Butler has grinded and fought and clawed for everything that he's ever gotten. And that's why Dwyane Wade told him it would be a good fit in Miami. But then, of course, Pat Riley's ego comes into play. Why is Pat Riley so fucking involved with this franchise still? Why is his voice so large? Why? He hasn't made a good move since Jimmy Butler. He hasn't drawn one person to play with Jimmy Butler. That's his fault. That's his job. So he's failed at his job. He's expected a guy to carry a bunch of young pups and G League players to the finals, to win a championship. Something that LeBron James could not do. Something that Dwyane Wade could not do. Something that Magic Johnson did not do. None of these guys, something that Shaq did not do. None of these guys have done. They've all had a running mate. Jimmy Butler has not. And then you have them tell you to shut up. This is from an article in the Miami Herald I'm going to share with you. And you know what? You guys who have this mentality that the franchise is always right and it's a crybaby athlete, blah, blah, blah. Yes, sometimes I do agree. Athlete can be a crybaby. Jimmy Butler's been perfect for 5 years. And then, yes, he trolls. He wears the stupid hairstyles at picture day, all that stuff. His president told him to shut his mouth if you're not playing. Really? You couldn't have done that privately? You couldn't have had that conversation as a man in front of a man? No, you wanted to embarrass him publicly and flex your muscles? Are the Heat better without Jimmy Butler? No. It doesn't matter who they trade him for. If they can even trade him, I would hope to God that if the offers aren't good enough, they won't trade him for Skittles and M&Ms. I'm sorry, but Jonathan Kuminga is not the answer. And I don't see teams giving us first-round picks for him. But it doesn't matter because the Miami Heat doesn't actually play their first-round picks. Ask Khalil Ware. Even Bam Adebayo, his first year, didn't play a ton. He played a bit. Hero played the most of any first-round pick besides Dwyane Wade. But most of these guys never see the court. This is what was posted right here. This was in the Miami Herald. It says, according to multiple sources, the 35-year-old Butler, the 35-year-old Butler has been disappointed with the Heat, primarily because the Miami declined to give him a 2-year, $113 million contract extension this past summer, a deal that would have run through the 26-27 season. Butler was open to signing such a deal early in the negotiating window, but his mindset changed when the extension wasn't immediately offered by the Heat. This is a vote. Which side is to blame for this toxic situation? Vote in the polls. I can tell you who I voted for. I said the Miami Heat. You have a lot of delusional fans. A lot of delusional fans. This is just, I'm curious to see what the vote looks like now. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find what the vote is now. But this is what Pat Riley has done to these idiots in South Florida. These stupid fans in South Florida are the same people that walked out with the Miami Heat down 94-89. 94-89 with 28 seconds to go in Game 6 of the Finals in 2013. A team that had gone 66-16 with a 27-game winning streak. They walked out. There's video of it. It lives in infamy of what bad fans exist in Miami, Florida. They're not fans. I'm a little bit disappointed in the article that I read from Greg Cody where he says he's a selfish pride. No, I disagree, Greg. Why do you keep blowing smoke? Why do you guys keep glazing fucking Pat Riley? It's mind-blowing to me how you can glaze that man so much. That man has shit on so many former players for which you acknowledged it. It's just so odd that people who are supposed to be intelligent don't see that this man has been glazed for so long. It's insane to me. It bothers me to no end. Here, I found it right here. Let's see. Miami, there we go. Right now, the vote is actually, it's gotten closer. People are waking up. Now the vote is, let me share that with you. Now the vote actually has gotten a little bit closer. Now it's 46 to 45%. So people are shifting. The people who have idea are voting now and showing you that Jimmy Butler, realistically, I mean, you want to say it's 50-50. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you on that. I'm not going to debate that. I think Jimmy Butler is a little bit a bit of a baby. Yeah, I do. I think it's a little bit babyish. I'm not a fan of all of this stuff, but I'm not going to sit here and blame Jimmy Butler. That man bases respect on a check, like most of these athletes do. It's based on a check. People don't take pay cuts. Dwyane Wade did that shit, and Dwyane Wade will never get that money back that he gave away to the Miami Heat. Why did Dwyane Wade come back to the Miami Heat? Because he got paid his contract in a buyout. Because Miami wasn't going to pay him Miami didn't pay him even when he came back. They didn't pay him. Hell, the Miami Heat couldn't even give Dwyane Wade the respect of a statue that looks like him. Like, this is the franchise we're talking about. This is the franchise. He's run now 3 stars out of town and looks like a 4th. And you guys are going to sit here and glaze Pat Riley and fucking twerk for him and suck him off and tell him how great he is. And people are going to sit here and say, oh, Jimmy Butler ain't done shit this year. Bullshit. Jimmy Butler's got better numbers than Bam Adebayo right now. He's shooting 55% from the field. His usage rate is in the toilet. You're not giving him the ball. You really think Tyler Hero can carry this team? You think Bam can carry this team? You think adding a Jonathan Kuminga type of player can help Like I saw someone post about Zion Williamson. The man's always injured. You think Jimmy's injured? Zion can't put a burger down, for Christ's sakes. Zion weighs 290 fucking pounds. Always hurt. I mean, if Jimmy was to be traded to the freaking New Orleans Pelicans and they're 5-30, he might retire. I mean, I don't know. But this crap is out of control. And I'll sit here and I'm a massive Jimmy Butler fan. I love this style of play. I was so happy when he came here. I was begging for Miami to make the trade for him when he was in Minnesota, and then they didn't do it. And then I was begging for them to get him from Philly, and they finally did it. And it only happened because they chose Tobias Harris. And then I was begging for Miami to trade Bam Adebayo to go get Joel Embiid. Didn't do that either. Jimmy Butler doesn't have to be the star of the team. He is not even asking to be the star of the team. He wasn't the star of the team in Philly. But when the game was in line, you know who took the shots? Jimmy Butler. And that was with who was on that team? Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons. Jimmy Butler took the shots. Yo, you guys can keep glazing and twerking it up for Pat Riley all you want. He's a 79-year-old man. If you ever were told by and I'm going to go back to this, real quick. People say, oh, you don't pay for what they've done. Yeah, you do. If you work in any business and you bring your company a multi-million-dollar deal, are you paid for that deal before you brought the deal? Or you paid commission or bonus after you brought the deal? You're paid after. You're paid after. When I make sales at my job, I don't get paid before the sale is done. I get paid after the sale is done. What does that have to? That's no different than professional sports. If you're not paying me right now, mind you, Butler's making paid very, very well, but he's being paid. You're going to pay him for what he's done for you. Most players are being paid for what they've done, not what they're going to do. Unless they're 25 years old, you're not paying Steph Curry for what he's going to do. He's 37 in March. You're not paying KD for what he's going to do. KD's never going to win a ring again. Never. Not unless there's another superstar next to him. And even that's not enough for him with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, who I think would be a horrendous decision if Miami was to trade Jimmy Butler for Bradley Beal. The same guy they didn't want a few years ago. The same guy that was talked about to come down here so that you could pair him up with Jimmy Butler. Bradley Beal is not a number one option. He would have been a number two option with Jimmy Butler. But he's also hurt all the time. He's hurt more than Butler is. But you guys who live in this, and then y'all forget about the fact, or don't know that, Steph Curry's missed 100 games over 5 years. You don't know that Kevin Durant's missed over 100 games over the last 7 years. Kawhi Leonard is stealing money with the Clippers. And I bet some of y'all would trade Jimmy Butler for Kawhi Leonard. Y'all a trip, bro. Y'all Miami Heat fans, y'all are funny as shit because most of y'all don't go to games. Most of y'all will never buy a ticket. Yet, despite the fact that the arena is always sold out, yet there's always 5,000 empty seats in the building. I've admitted I haven't been to a game in a year, almost 2 years. And I have season tickets because it's 45 minutes away. And I don't feel my wife was pregnant for a year, and she didn't want to go to games. And this year, it's like watching paint dry. It's a train wreck. Not interested. It's not fun anymore. Because they're not doing anything to get better. They're not doing anything to get better. But you guys are a funny bunch. You swear by a 79-year-old man because his employees, who are the ones that manipulate the cap numbers, because they're the ones that know the cap, not him, have figured out ways to squeeze, get water from a rock. But guess what? The days of Pat Riley throwing his rings on a table are gone. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. This is not 1965. This is not 1985. This isn't even 2011. It's 2024. You owed it to Jimmy Butler to get him another player, and you didn't do it because you refused to trade Bam Adebayo. You were trying to dump off Tyler Hero for 3 years, and now look at how stupid you look. You're going to Tyler Hero to be your fucking savior. What a bunch of hypocritical bullshit. I mean, Tyler Hero, for every offseason, the man's taking the Miami Heat off of his fucking Instagram profile, expecting to be traded. Expecting to be traded. And I give him credit because he's having a great season this year. But he ain't going to carry this franchise. He's not a star. He's a good player. He's a good player. He's not a star. Bam, he's a better player than Bam. He's a better scorer than Bam. He's more reliable to put the ball in the hole than Bam. But Bam is paid like the guy who should be putting the ball in the hole. Whereas they got Tyler Hero on a discount comparatively. Remember when Duncan Robinson got paid 5 years, almost $100 million, and then sat 2 years on the fucking bench? Does Pat Riley get criticized for that? Remember the deals he gave Dion Waiters and James Johnson after that one fluke flash in the pan year where they went 41 and 41 and gave them 4 year deals? Remember when he gave Tyler Johnson 4 years and $50 million with a $25 million, I think it was $25 million in the last year? These are the deals that this man has made. He's made horrendous decisions as an executive. Horrendous ones. He became forced to play Bam early on. The Heat were forced to play Bam early on. Bro. And yet Jimmy Butler's get to play with Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson. I mean, you name it. The G Leaguer galore, bro. It's like we're the team of the G League, man. There's no other team that has as many G Leaguers on its team, on its active roster. Starters. How many guys from the G League have played for this franchise? Like at a high level in terms of minutes. And you couldn't find a way to get him another star because you refused to trade the one guy who had any value to getting him the guy that he would need. I mean, for Christ's sakes, you couldn't even bring in Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez alone would have changed the Miami Heat because then it would have allowed Bam to finally play the 4 and have a real rim protector in Brook Lopez and a guy who can space and also has a great back-to-the-basket game. And you didn't do it. Andre Drummond. How many bigs have the Miami Heat failed to get? No, they'll go get Thomas Bryant. Come on. And then they'll get rid of him. Omar Yurtseven. I mean, you never gave him a chance. You got Khalil Ware. He plays 10 minutes a game. You think this Miami Heat team's going anywhere? You think this team without Jimmy Butler goes anywhere? They don't make the playoffs without that man. And anyone that says, well, I don't pay to watch Jimmy Butler, bullshit. Bullshit. The Miami Heat have been sold out for 15 years straight. 15 years sellouts. You can get tickets on the third-party market, but retail, you can't get them. They're sold out. That's the one thing that conflicts me about getting rid of my tickets if I can, is that I might not be able to get them again once Pat Riley's gone. Because I do love basket. I do love the Miami Heat. But I cannot stand Pat Riley. His egomaniacal ways have cost the Miami Heat so many chances at rings. And it started with Shaq to LeBron. I mean, the LeBron thing was an absolute debacle. Absolute debacle. How you can let that man leave your city is beyond me. Beyond me. But before anyone says that Jimmy Butler is not as good as Dwyane Wade, in his prime, no, he's not. Dwyane Wade's a better player. But it's not that far. It's not that far of a stretch between the two of them. In fact, if you ask most people, Jimmy Butler was the best player in the world against the Milwaukee Bucks. And in the playoffs, Jimmy Butler is among the 3 or 4 best players in the world as a member of the Miami Heat. And what matters more, what the regular season or the playoffs? And in the playoffs, the Miami Heat have been very, very successful with Jimmy Butler. 3 runs to the conference finals, 2 finals appearances. Yes, 2 losses in the first round. Why isn't Bam Adebayo held accountable for the losses in the first round? He's the one that played last year. Jimmy Butler got hurt. Why wasn't Bam Adebayo expected to do more? Y'all can keep living in y'all land of delusion. I don't live that way. I don't live that way. Y'all can keep bowing down, kissing the ring, twerking it up, glazing Pat Riley. Keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. You just lost the best thing that you're going to have in this city for quite some time. Because I'm going to tell you what also is going to happen. And this is something that you should understand very, very clearly. Why would a star want to come here? Other than the fact that it's Miami and it's warm and it's beautiful women and no taxes, no state tax. Why would someone really want to come here? When you know as a star level player, your president will disrespect you and has no problem doing so. Why come here? For what? He'll make a lot of promises that he can't keep. There was a video I saw of Paul Pierce where he said that Pat Riley, who is the creator of Heat culture, is destroying Heat culture. People saying, oh, Paul Pierce is crazy. No, Paul Pierce is right. Paul Pierce in that was right. And typically Paul Pierce is crazy. In this situation, he's right. Pat Riley, who created Heat culture, is destroying Heat culture. There won't be a Heat. There's no Heat culture anymore. Pat Riley has insulted so many fucking players, it's ridiculous. But hey, y'all believe what y'all want. If you don't understand who Jimmy Butler is, that's part of the problem. But don't sit here and tell me that a man that's sitting here with his dying father and you saying he's missing games. Yeah, he misses some games from injuries. Yeah, he has some fucked up knees. And yet he grinds through shit all the time. All the time. That's Pat Riley for you. Taking shit on you when your dad's dying. Fuck you, Pat Riley. This is Rudy's Rant. Facts over feelings. Come on now.